right, Byrne. It's ended up being a 5-2 defeat here today, obviously against a side that's a really strong South Shield side. But can you give us your reflections on the 94, 95 minutes we've seen there?
Hard watch at times. Everything we tried to preempt, everything we thought would happen happened. Um, you know, first half, they started really well. They had to start well off the back of losing the game against Darlington. And in my opinion, I think Buster's come here today knowing that they've got absolutely nothing to lose in terms of, coming here and getting a point and sort of playing within themselves wasn't the thing. It's, get here, get after them. In hindsight, we might have lost the league. Look at Foul being 6 points ahead. So they come with a real sort of positive mentality, in my opinion. And like you say, within 6 minutes, they find themselves in front. We spoke about what Paul Blackett offers all week. We spoke about how trying to stop him. Sometimes you just can't stop him. An exquisite finish from the kid, and then gets a second shortly after. We then get ourselves back in the game. We built some good pressure. Roscoe misses at 2-1. If that goes hit 2-1 and it's 2-2 after 30 minutes, then goals change games, as we know. And we're coming at half time, and listen, I alluded to the fact. I said, listen, lads, you can't be sort of second guessing, question yourself. They're a good side. They're a good side, and they're second in the league for a reason. Our pitch is beautiful. Maybe we should have let grow on the grass a little bit longer and try to slow it down. But I'm not going to make excuses. They're a good team. I feel like we've had to play 1 or 2 players out of positions today, and they've been exposed. That's not their fault. Yeah, and I'm not. Listen, the book lies with me. I'm the one that picks the team. I'm the one that plays the players where they are. But to take somebody out of a position where he's been doing really well, to and then put him up against one of the best players in the league, they're always going to ask questions and expose us, and they've done that. My hands are tied. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? I said to play with freedom, enjoy it. But when you find yourself down, 2-0 down after 15 minutes, then again, you're expecting the worst. To get back in the game and then potentially, miss 2 good chances there. And then second half, is Rio's a pen? Is it a dive? Again, they just don't seem to be with us. And if Rio's pen's given at 2-1 and he scores, then game on, and they go up the other end and score. So although the result looked 5-2 and it looks a comfortable win for South Shield, which it was, but there was big moments in the games where if it falls our way, then result 100% changes. I mean, that's as many chances as we've created this season in a game of football against the second best team in the league. Then, there's got to be some positives, and they're the positives. Tyler James had, 3 or 4 good chances. Rio's absolutely as a 9 on himself, second half, worked so hard. Jude's had good chances, not kicked a ball for 408 days. Michael Fury coming on, and yeah, so many positives, but the result is sore. It hurts to look at that. But I did say enjoy it. I did say play with freedom. And again, instill some sort of pride into it. But at 5-1, you're thinking, Jesus, here we go again. Everything the hit went in. But again, their movement off the ball, them in possession, plan B, plan C, they're good. And I spoke to Buster before the game, and I'm not saying he's reinvented the wheel at this league, but they play a brand of football, and so they've failed, that we all, work towards and want to do. And that brand of football is going to get either one of them 2 teams out this league. This level of football, the movements and the patterns that have been played today, it doesn't warrant this level of football. It's far superior to this level. Do I want my team to play that? Absolutely. But the difference between being part-time and full-time is that them contact hours and that repetition that allows you to do that on a weekly basis. You have to look good. And that's the difference. When you're full-time and you don't play like that, then, you're not going to be in a job. But credit to Buster and their team. They're a very good team, and I want to see the back of them.
I was going to say, it's probably, I think me and Jacob had the similar kind of thought, but like, best go on and win it now, because you're a good, really good side. You can see we're playing us off the park at times, but you spoke about it then before, the cards are being dealt in terms of having players probably out of position, not used to these type of scenarios, having to drag others over possibly. But obviously, I've seen you at training. I know you was working on the game plan. That game plan was probably not as effective as you probably wanted it to be, but there was probably elements there that you did see that it did work, especially at points towards the start of the second half and after we were 2-0 down.
The people that will sit on the fence and be negative towards me will say you've conceded 11 goals in 3 games. We've also scored 5 goals against the 2 best teams in the league over the last 2 games. That is a massive positive for me. It's a massive positive for the team in terms of confidence. We've created so many chances in the 2 games against. And listen, we've walked away with nothing. They're the facts. We've walked away with absolutely nothing. But I have to find some type of positive. I have to. That's, I can't just turn a blind eye to and just keep battering with negatives. The fact we scored 5 goals, and again, I do believe we probably should have scored another 2 or 3 today. I do believe that. We haven't, and it's easy to stand there and say I should have done. I'm not the one on the pitch trying to put the ball in the back of the net. But the fact that we're creating them chances against these really good teams, which I've alluded to, I have to take that as a positive and build on it. And it doesn't get any easier. You look at Tuesday night, Kidderminster to come in here, totally different team to Fylde and South Shields in terms of that ball retention. However, they're the 3rd best team in the league, and for this team that haven't won in 9, it doesn't get any easier. But for me, I felt a lot worse this season than what I feel now. With or without Jono, I've had some bad days that you do as a manager. But looking at what we've just created second half to a team that's been absolutely flogged, I've flogged them players. They've been absolutely flogged. There's no time to rotate. We just haven't got them options at the minute. But again, they're just the facts. It's not an excuse. People will probably see it as an excuse, but it's not. They're just facts. Callum McFadden again today after playing 90 minutes. Harley O'Grady, it's the first time he's played 90 minutes in 7 months. Real tough on him. And I run the risk of them picking injuries up, but we're just limited. And I'm asking them, and they're getting through things for me, and they're working hard for me. So, yeah, going into Tuesday now, like I say, it doesn't get any easier. You're playing against a Kidderminster side that come here a couple of weeks ago, and we had a right go against them, and God forbid the 2 players that got injured, it probably could have gone either way. That was a big moment for us, that game where if we probably would have took 3 points, or could have took 3 points, things change. But like I say, we are where we are. The fact that we've created as many chances as what we created, I'll go away, looking at that sort of positives, but still disappointed in terms of the goals we concede and the manner we do it. But again, I'm not, 44 games in. We're not going to start ripping it up now. We are where we are, and we're just going to sort of finish the season now.
I was going to say that's how you kind of got to look at it. There's only 3 games left now after today. You kind of got to look at the positives, as you say, the creating chances against the top sides, and try and take those or the other positives that you may have seen out there as well into these 3 games that we've got coming.
100%, and we've got 9 points to play for. 2 home games and an away game, so 2 home games completely different to the away game. Hereford fighting for their life, Macclesfield and Kidderminster fighting for 3rd spot. So again, we have an opportunity to play a massive part in that. But just focusing on ourselves, it'd be nice to pick up some points. Can't really experiment for the last 3 or 4 games, like we've just said, because we just haven't got the strength in depth to be able to do that. But the biggest thing and the main focus at the minute is to keep this 15 players fit, injury free, hopefully. And like I say, just finish the season as strong as we can.
And then obviously now, last but not least, obviously it's back-to-back home games now against Kidderminster. Worse for the fans, obviously. The attendance was really good once again today, despite the hailstone and stuff that ended up coming down just before you came back out for the second half.
I speak to Ratcliffe fans as a Ratcliffe lad. I might see them in my local pub, I might see them in the shopping, centres, and as Ratcliffe fans, I don't think Ratcliffe have seen these type of teams come play at Ratcliffe with so much quality, and that's what we're champing at the bit for. We want to see more of that, and the level this league, every manager speaks about how competitive it is. But like you say, there's 3 or 4 teams playing a brand of football at this level at the minute that has no right to be at this level of football. It's 100% at least the one above, if not, League Two. We watch football as much as we can, and stuff that I've seen out there today, you can't help but pay credit to the coaches, because what they work on, they've executed in abundance over the 2 games, being Fylde and South Shields. And as much as you've alluded to the fact we try to work on that in training, sometimes you can only try and put a stop to something, and in moments we did. But when they got the joy and they got the success, they executed it, and I think it's really important that if they've had 6 or 7 chances today, they've been clinical in front of goal, and that's probably a word that I can say we've not been. Again, we've missed 3 big chances second half, where I would expect us to score at least 2 out of the 3. So we're not a million miles away in terms of where we need to be. It's just a side that haven't won in 9, and I think that confidence side of it, at times you can see it. If we don't get our sort of noses in front and we're going 1 or 2-0 down, they're still fighting. We're still fighting at 2-0 down today to get back in the game at 2-0, 2-1. Potentially should have gone 2 last week. 3-0 down, managed to get back in the game, score 3 goals, and switch off. So I know where we're at as a football team. I know where we're at as a club. But like I say, just want to enjoy it now for the last 3 games. Hopefully the fans turn up on Tuesday night and show the support as good as they've done all season, which they have done. And then we go away to Hereford and then finish off against Macclesfield, which again on paper is an unbelievable game to finish the season with.
Cheers,